What's going on, guys? It's your boy Fight One Goose with AB Boxing News. Happy holidays, happy New Year's, and hopefully everybody has a happy 2021. And what a way to start the new year. As you know, the lightweight division is hotter than ever. With these young bulls, these young guns getting back and making noise and trying to take over the sport of boxing. And yes, I'm talking about Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and Teofimo Lopez. Right? Who would have thought that these four names itself would be making boxing relevant in bigger ways, not only on the casual boxing perspective, right? You look at YouTube, you look at TikTok, you look at Snapchat with Ryan, Tank being having exposure, Teofimo becoming undisputed, and Devin Haney being a champion. It's a great time for boxing, but let's also be considerate that we are in reality, and as much as we want to see these fights, like I personally want to see these fights, right? But if history teaches us something, we should understand that sometimes the best fights are never made, and when you want to make the fight, it's always going to be too late, no matter their popularity, what titles they have, and that's just the bummer about boxing, right? And right now, right, with the whole Ryan Garcia Tank, I commend them because they're doing the thing. They're talking about each other. Did their thing on Mike Tyson. They talk to each other on that FaceTime. Um, you know, Giving the fans hope of having that fight happen. And trust me, I want to see that fight. Ryan Garcia and Tank is a fucking event. It's a movie. You have Teofimo Lopez, who's just dethroned Lomachenko 2020, and he became, depending on who you ask, right? Some people say he's undisputed, and some people think, he's one title away from undisputed, who Devin Haney has, right? The regular WBC champion, and Teofimo Lopez got the franchise WBC champion. So depending on who you ask, Teofimo is undisputed, right? And then Devin Haney is a fighter that he's been in the game longer than the Ryans, the Tanks, and the Teofimo in the game, and where he is now. Him and Teofimo will make a fight that makes sense. That's an exciting fight. I think a lot of fans will understand that fight's going to be more technical, where Tank and Ryan, I feel like that fight's going to be more in a knockout stellar fashion, right? And the fact is, right, you have a lot of people in the way. We look at Ryan, we look at Tank, for example, right? Tank is with Mayweather. He's affiliated with Showtime. Ryan is with Golden Boy, and they're with DAZN. That's two different conflicts in the way. And Oscar and Floyd has had bad blood for years. And based on how DAZN structured with their subscriptions and Showtime being on premium network, like, there's going to be a lot of egos in there, right? They're going to say, well, it should be on Showtime, it should be on DAZN. And I know recently DAZN with the Canelo fight, they had like I guess they were like putting it like a pay-per-view, like I think it was like $54.99, with fans having like 3 months of DAZN. But even with that, like, it's just a lot of different egos. I feel like both promoters are going to guide their fighters in a different direction. And as much as the fight is bigger, like, I just don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, I like Ryan, I like Tank, but it's not going to happen. Devin Haney and Teofimo, same way. Devin's with DAZN, Teofimo's with ESPN. And yes, Bob and Eddie have worked together with some fights being on ESPN and some fights being on DAZN. That fight could kind of in a way easily be made, but with WBC mandating, scheduled to be mandating Ryan to fight Devin, it's going to be, I don't know how they're going to do things, but I tell all these young fighters, and I tell all these promoters, I tell all these broadcasters, is don't make the same mistake that, Mikey Garcia and Vasily Lomachenko did, maybe 2 to 3 years ago. One of the biggest super fight in that boxing was salivating for or craving for was Mikey Garcia versus Lomachenko. Everybody was talking about it. They were talking about Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko, pound for pound, in the top 5 pound for pound list, right? And the fact that everybody wanted to see it, and the fact that they were in the same weight class, Mikey being, a WBC I'm pretty sure he had the WBA, and then Loma moving from 130 to 135. It seemed like the time was right to make that fight happen. But as many of you know, that Mikey was once upon a time with Top Rank, and Bob, mad for leaving, and didn't want to give Mikey that opportunity. I feel like Bob was making too many excuses. A lot of people were just in the way, and at the end of the day, that fight was a fight that should have happened, but it never came to fruition because of so many egos and personal pride. You look at Mikey, afterwards, right? He's fought at 40, right? He's fought at 47. Yes, he's got a lot of money. He's had a good fights, but the fight that he needed, not just him, but the fans needed from him, was Lomachenko. And like I said, I don't blame Mikey for what he did moving up, but it just comes to show you that when that super fight is there, make it happen. Because if you don't make it happen, then it's gonna be too late, and people gonna live with regrets. So I just hope that Ryan, Tank, Devin, and Tio, um, really consider this and not hesitate in taking those fights, winning each other when they fight each other. Like, don't hesitate, take the fight now, because you fighting, the Ryan, like for example, Tio fighting Devin, Ryan, or Tank, or whatever, vice versa. That's more meaningful, and people are gonna remember those. You don't want fans, you know, asking yourself, what if, Devin fought Tio, or Devin fought Tank, or Devin fought Ryan. Like, you don't wanna leave boxing fans in disbelief and just like betrayed. You feel me? Because Lomachenko and Mikey could have been that fight that fans would have been talking about for years. And if those two would have fought whenever they fought 2-3 years ago, their fate and outcome would have been, who knows? Mikey could have been maybe the biggest fucking pay-per-view star. If he was to beat Lomachenko would have been Mikey. He would have been probably the biggest star. Those outcomes are no longer going to be there for them unless they do something incredible. Look at Lomachenko. He lost to Teofimo Lopez. He's like not even considered top 5 pound for pound no more. I think he just hits the top 10. So, dear Ryan, dear Tank, dear Haney, dear Tio, please don't make the same mistake. Get the fights done, no matter who has to take the less percentages. As long as you guys make the fight happen, legacy is more important than egos and pride. So, guys, please don't make the same mistake as Mikey Garcia and Lomachenko. Peace out, guys.